Awesome. Well, like I said, thanks so much. I'm so glad to be here. But before we get started, I wanted to make a quick promise to all of you. By the time that this call ends, I'm guaranteeing that you're going to write down at least 3 notes in your notebook. And if you don't, I need you to message me and let me know, because I'm just going to keep throwing more and more ideas at you and tips and tricks at you through Raffles until you all walk away with that many. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous. I just made that promise, but actually hold me accountable. You guys have all just given up 1 hour of your day. And so it's my goal to make this so valuable for you. And I'm really excited because we've got some really effective tactics to help you grow your raffles by 15% more than last year. And regardless of if you're new to raffles or if you've been doing them for years, this session is for you. But before we get started, I wanted to share a quick story with you about an organization that completely shifted their raffle and they saw the benefits. One of the organizations we recently worked with had done raffles in the past and actually had some really great success. Their first year, they hit their fundraising goals and they wanted to see the same success again. But this year was different. This year, they wanted to make sure that they could actually engage with the people that were participating in their raffle. See, last year, they didn't know a lot of the people that participated, and they didn't have an easy touch point to connect with them afterward. And they feared a lot of people were coming just for the raffle and not necessarily to support them, which at the end of the day, it allowed them to hit their goals, but it didn't solve their need to grow their donor base and educate more people about their cause. So as they looked to their winter raffle this past December, they knew they needed to make some changes. And so they did. And they raised 15% more by incorporating 3 specific elements. One, they talked about their why and what the dollars raised would actually do to support their organization. 2, they highlighted their sponsors and giving them recognition, encouraging them to share their word. And 3, but most importantly, they added in an additional donation ask where ticket purchasers were checking out, and they raised an additional $36,000 for their organization. That's 1,600 new donors that they'll now be building relationships with and that they're going to be able to turn into long-term supporters. Now, I'm telling you this story so that you can think about what's going to be possible for your organization. You might not have a massive fundraising team or a big donor base, but with the 5 steps I'm going to share with you today, you'll be able to raise 15% more for your organization, just like the organization I just mentioned. And if this is all new to you, no worries at all. I've got some really actionable steps that I'm also going to share with you along the way. So to help me make the most of this session with you guys and make sure I'm giving you the most important information possible, I'd love to know who's joining us today. And so I'd love if you could answer this quick question before we dive in. Have you run an online raffle before for your organization? If you could just throw in the chat what your organization name is and give me a quick yes or no if you've run an online raffle before, that would be amazing. I'd love to see who's here. Click and no. Eastern Front Theater, yes. We have not, no. Winter Adaptive Sports, no. Running our first one now, amazing. Grove Community Players, no life cycles. I did an online silent auction for an organization in the past, cool, okay. It sounds like a lot of you guys are new to this, which is exciting. And I see John from Habitat is here, awesome, so glad you're here, John. And Faye, no raffle on Trellis. I know, but you guys have been killing it on the silent auction front for Trellis. Awesome. It looks like a lot of you guys are new to raffles. So I'm really excited because I think a lot of the resources I'm going to share with you and some of the strategies I'm going to share with you today are going to give you some really good starting places of where to join in from. So why don't we dive into it? So here's where I want to go. Let's briefly review how you can streamline your application process. Let's dive into ticket strategy and then designing a raffle page that's going to help you sell more. And then we're going to also talk about marketing your raffle. And then by the end, talking about how you can set up your ticket purchases for success. Throughout the session, I also want to share with you some real life examples and ideas from organizations that have succeeded. My goal for the end of this time is that you're going to walk away with some really clear next steps on how to launch your next raffle to raise more than you have in years past. And in addition to all of that, we have put together a raffle guide, which talks about 25 marketing tactics to make sure your raffle stands out. So in this talk, we're going to cover a lot of our favorite raffle tactics, but the guide has so many more. And so we're going to just throw a link into the chat right now. You can kind of think about this talk like step 1, and then the guide is step 2, and there's a link in there so you can go download it now. But we cover the same raffle strategy in the talk as the guide, but the guide goes into way more details. So some how-to steps, quick ideas to implement your raffle, and even some ideas if you're already running a raffle. And then there's also some more guides and templates and insights from our raffle experts too that you can pull from. So again, there's a QR code on the screen. You can also use the link in the chat or the link on the screen, and just make sure you grab that. But maybe first, it might be helpful to just say who we are. We're from Trellis. Faye, thank you so much, just giving us a ringing endorsement for our support in the chat. But we are building fundraising software for raffles, 50/50s, events, auctions, and we work exclusively with charities and nonprofits. We build tools to help charities with all of their events, from galas to golf tournaments, and then also standalone campaigns and fundraisers like raffles or 50/50s too. Hundreds of charities have been running events and fundraisers with Trellis, and we have learned a ton from their successes and failures. And so I want to share with you some of my favorite ideas around tips to make your raffle a success. I'm Rebecca, and I'm here with one of my colleagues, Zoe, who is hanging out in the chat. So if you have any questions at all while I'm talking, make sure to throw them in the chat, and Zoe's going to be answering them right away or holding on to them, and we will definitely get to as many as possible in our Q&A at the end. Me and my team were joining from the unceded territory of the Sioux people, and we wanted to just take a moment here to pause and recognize the land that we all get to live and work on. Okay, let's get started. Now, our first step is really here to set the stage. So hold on, because we're going to fly through this first one. But first up, let's talk about streamlining your application process. Because we're going so quick, again, if you have any questions at all, make sure to throw them in the chat and we will definitely answer them. But first, to make sure your application process is a breeze, you need to understand the rules in your area. Once you know the rules that apply for your community, you can plan the best raffle for your organization. Now, I know that we've got some individuals joining us from around the world, actually, which is super cool. Canada, if you're based in Canada, and I know a lot of you probably are, every single province has different rules and regulations around how you can run raffles. And so I would just look at your province and just see kind of what options you have. For our friends that are joining us in the States, it's super fun. Some states have very specific rules, and beyond that, some counties even have some very specific rules around raffles. And so again, I would just reach out first on a county level and then on a state level to just see what rules and regulations apply for your specific community, so you can figure out how you can move forward with your raffle. Now, if you are in other parts of the world beyond Canada and the States, again, I would look at any rules and regulations that apply to your country specifically. Some provinces or some countries do not allow raffles. Some are just building raffle rules. And so just to make sure that you're following rules, that'd be great. Just while we're here, Angela, I see you have a question about raffles in Ontario. Trellis is working on it. We are excited to be supporting raffles in Ontario pretty quick, but not today, and we can share more details in our Q&A at the end. So once you know what rules apply to your community, like I said, then from there you can plan the best raffle for your organization. Some questions that you'll need to answer before getting started are: 1, do I qualify for a raffle in my province or state or wherever I live? And 2, what are the different types of requirements or differences for each type of raffle license I can get? And then 3, how long does it take to apply for a raffle license, and what would that look like? Again, if this is all new to you, I would definitely encourage asking for help. Platforms like ours, Trellis, we can help you get your raffle set up and make sure you're applying for the right license. Our team's actually just built a really helpful quiz that Zoe is going to throw into the chat for you right now as well, which is all around how to help you find the best raffle license for your organization. We like to call it, what raffle quiz type are you? But it's just a really quick 2-minute fun quiz that's going to point you in the right direction. But before we move on, I'd love to know if anybody has any questions. And if you do around raffle license and streamlining the application process, throw them in the chat and we will definitely get to them at the end. So now that we know what raffle license type we're looking at, the next big question is picking the right raffle and then building out your foolproof ticket strategy. So let's start with the basics. And here are the 3 types of raffles that we're going to focus on first. So number 1, we've got the 50-50. Okay, our first one, the 50-50, is super easy and simple, and that's probably why we love it the most. But you don't need to secure a big prize for this one. Your ticket money is the prize. And if you're raffling off money, you just appeal to a really wide audience. So we find that doing a 50-50 is ideal for organizations that are doing a standalone fundraiser. The multi-prize would be our next big raffle type. And with this one, as you probably guessed, you've got multiple prizes that you can have a chance of winning. We find that this one is a really great way to engage others, so like your sponsors with your organization, and engage lots of different types of donors as well. And what's really fun about this one is you can get really specific with your prizes or keep them a bit more generic and have it open to a wider audience. We find that this one typically works best if you're incorporating it into a larger fundraiser, like an event or a gala. And what most organizations will do is they'll do a last ticket call during the event. And then a few hours later or towards the end of the night, they'll actually announce their winner during the event. It just boosts last minute sales and also builds a lot of hype and excitement for your guests that are attending. And then finally, we have the single prize. So I wanted to mention the single prize raffles where, as you guessed it again, you only have one prize available to win. With this raffle type, you're attracting people around a very specific prize. And as you're only focusing on one, you can do something amazing with it. We find that this raffle style works really well for organizations doing both a standalone fundraiser or one that's part of a larger fundraiser for the organization too. I would just really focus on putting a lot of energy and effort into getting the right prize for the best chance to engage your ideal audience with this fundraiser. So once you've decided what raffle to run and what type of raffle you're going to do, the next question we always get asked is about timeframes. So again, I would make sure that you're writing this down, but for raffles that are standalone, I would recommend trying a 6-week window for people to buy tickets. And then if your raffle is part of an existing fundraiser, then I would aim to have your raffle open for about 4 weeks leading up to the event. Both of these timeframes are going to give you enough time to promote the raffle and give your purchasers multiple touch points and reminders to engage and encourage repeat ticket purchasing, which again, ultimately is going to help you hit your fundraising goals. So now that we know the different types of raffles look like and how long we should be running them for, how can you strategically sell more tickets? Here are my 5 top tips to sell out. First, start by deciding how many tickets you think you can actually sell. And honestly, I would really recommend trying to be realistic with yourself here. So maybe to start, think about past experiences you've had with this group. How much did they like to spend or donate at a time to your calls? And how much do you think people would be interested in giving for a raffle ticket? If you've never done a raffle before, no worries at all. I would take a look at what other organizations in your area are doing and charging for raffle tickets to just get you started on what's a really ideal ticket price range you should be shooting for. Our second tip would be to encourage people to buy larger ticket packages with discounts. Everybody loves a good deal, so think about how you can incentivize people to buy more tickets by getting a discount. In this example here, we had, and you can't really see it, but the organization had 3 different ticket packages available. Their first was 1 ticket for $20. Their next is 3 for $50, and then 10 tickets for $100. So with that last ticket package, the value of a ticket is actually worth $10 each. This tactic really helps your purchasers save a few dollars, but also increase their chances of winning. But ultimately, it's going to get you closer to helping hit your fundraising goals. Next up, I would encourage you to think about increasing or incorporating early bird prizes or early sales. Without a doubt, early bird prizes lead to early sales. And so I would explore what kind of prizes and incentives you can give to your ticket purchasers to increase the number of people buying tickets early on in the campaign. And as an added bonus, it always is so much easier to sell out tickets when you've got an established pot. So you can also use that to your advantage to encourage more people to keep buying tickets even after the early bird prizes are finished. Another great tactic is to encourage more ticket sales to limit the amount of best ticket packages that you have available. So this also is going to help you increase your pot size. Actually, I would encourage you to take a screenshot here so you can see this idea for your next raffle. So what this would look like is with your ticketing strategy, building excitement and a sense of urgency to get people participating quickly. Have your best value package as a limited quantity so that people are incentivized to buy that one early, and it gives you a better chance at selling out faster. Once you started to sell out that one best value package, your pot size is already going to be so increased that more and more people are going to want to engage, and it's going to really help you drive those initial ticket sales. Finally, and probably my favorite idea when it comes to increasing your fundraising success with a raffle is adding a donation upsell to your raffle. Or if you are running other elements to your fundraiser, seamlessly incorporating other fundraising drivers all in one place. So just as a side note, it is kind of crazy to me that more organizations aren't doing this, but you guys can be the first ones to kind of start this trend and to make this happen. So first, let's talk about donations. When your raffle ticket purchasers are buying their tickets, ask them if they would like to make an additional donation to your cause. Not including a donation upsell when people are checking out from buying raffle tickets is a missed opportunity. Think about it this way. If your raffle usually raises $500,000, say that's usually 10,000 ticket purchasers. Now, imagine what it would look like if 15% or 2,000 of them also made a donation. Or hey, what about if your raffle usually raises $75,000 and now 15% of those donors is going to be 250 people? If you had 250 new donors, what would that mean for your organization? That's 250 more people to reach out to when you've got another annual campaign. That's 250 more relationships to build and 250 more donors with unending fundraising potential. If you are just doing a raffle for this fundraiser, then add a donation upsell and give your donors the chance to continue supporting your cause. P.S. Don't forget to thank your donors after the fundraiser. That's going to be step one in really starting to build that relationship to secure an ongoing donors for your cause. Now, maybe you've also got some other fundraising elements included in your campaign. This could be a silent or live auction, selling items, or ticket sales. Aim to seamlessly incorporate all of your fundraising elements into one place to make it really easy for your donors to participate. Your donors will be so much more likely to add multiple things to their cart when it's all in one place, from raffle tickets to event tickets to auction items as well. So I know we just covered a lot of best practices for ticket strategy. So again, if you have any questions at all, if you want to just throw them in the chat, then we would love to answer those for you in our Q&A at the very end of the session. I'm seeing some comments are jumping in there now. And while you're doing that, let's move on to step number 3. designing your raffle fundraising page to sell out more tickets. So we all strive to make really great first impressions, and we should think it should be no different when it comes to your fundraising events and campaigns. And I think your branding and your fundraising pages are your first impression. So now that you're thinking about the fundraising pages you're creating slightly differently, how can you make your first impression or your fundraising page design amazing to ultimately help you sell more? And again, here are my 3 top ideas for that. 1, start with catchy and engaging images. Use images that encourage people to keep scrolling and inspire them to learn more, like this one for Lake City Works does. Their image, it gets people excited and they're about their fundraiser, and with the title of their campaign right next to their picture, I'm curious to keep scrolling to learn more. 2, talk about your why. We've done a lot of research on the donors, and a common trend we continue hearing is donors choose to support causes they care about and the causes that resonate with them. So use your fundraising page as an opportunity to educate more potential donors about your cause. Talk about what you're doing and the impact of donations and funds for your cause, and share success stories for those that who also benefit from your cause too, so you can inspire donors to keep supporting your organization. And finally, highlight your sponsors. This has 2 benefits for you. First, your sponsors are generously supporting your cause, but they're usually looking for some value in return. Promotion of their involvement is the easiest way to do that. And secondly, when your sponsors' logos and links to their website are included on your fundraising page, they are much more likely to share their involvement with your fundraiser too. And when they share it with their networks, it opens you up to so many more potential ticket purchasers that maybe you wouldn't have had access to before. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some great ideas to start here and think about your page design and kind of what your options are there. But again, I know I am moving really quickly, so please take a second here. And if you have a chance or have any questions at all, throw them in the chat. Our team will definitely save them, and then we'll be answering those for you guys in our Q&A, which we will do shortly here. I'm just opening up my chat window to see what we've got. Awesome, there's some questions in there already. So if you have more questions, then please keep throwing them in there, and that'd be great. And while you're doing that, let's talk about the next step. So we've covered 3 kind of sections already. We've talked about how to streamline your application process, ticketing strategy to sell more tickets, the importance of Raffle page design, and some ideas to get you started. And we have 2 more sections left I want to cover. And the first step is how to market your Raffle. So we've seen some really cool ideas around event marketing and Raffle marketing in particular. And I've got 25 ideas exactly that are going to help you. And those are all found in our marketing guide. So again, there is a link in the chat. So make sure you grab it if you haven't had a chance to. And while you're doing that, let's get started. Okay, so first I thought it might help to separate out our donors. First, your current donors and your organization supporters. So now that you're already doing marketing and promotion to get the word out, I'm gonna say just keep going at what you're doing. I'm not gonna tell you about some other strategies that I've heard about that I think are gonna work for you, because honestly, what you're doing is working, so I'd say stick at it. But I did want to give you a couple ideas that you might want to try out. One would be celebrating milestones. If it's 10,000, 25,000, 100,000, when you hit those big milestone numbers in your raffle, send an email blast to all of your current donors and encourage them to buy more tickets and share it with their friends. Also, just to thank them for their contribution they've already made in helping you hit that number. This is also a really great reminder for people that have not bought tickets yet to get in on the action and encourage people to buy more tickets too. So it's going to allow you to expand your network when they share it with their friends. And hey, at the same time, don't forget to remind them about your donation upsell and to bring in a few more dollars from your cause just by promoting that element alone. And then after that, the next group you're going to want to focus on is getting in front of new ticket purchasers. So this is where you're going to have to start expanding beyond your usual inner circle to get the word out. Start with your board members, volunteers, staff, prize sponsors, and key donors, or as we like to call this, your event partners. Give them a Dropbox with ready to post social media graphics and suggested captions to make it easy for them to promote your raffle. Or encourage them to share your social media posts with their followings too. Or you can look to some third-party marketing platforms like Home Lottery News to share the word. Or maybe you've got a sister or a partner organization. Find ways to collaborate with them. Encourage them to send it to their email list or social network and tell them to do the same. Tell them you'll do the same when it comes their time for another fundraiser. Working together in that sense of collaboration is something that we honestly care so much about at Trellis. And I think, working with partner organizations or sister organizations for you could be a really great avenue for you to start doing that as well. And then from all of your ticket purchasers, regardless of if they've been supporting you for years or if this is their very first time at all, the ultimate key to success will be learning from what's working. This will be so important so you can focus on the marketing strategies and channels that are working best for you. And the best way to do that is to track where direct sales are coming from and ask where your donors came from as well. So first, let's talk about asking your donors. So to do this, add a custom link to the question checkout process to ask them how they heard about the event. You can use that information to watch which channels are working and put more effort there. And to get a better idea of where your ticket purchasers are coming from, you can also add affiliate links so you can see how much money was raised through each channel that you are using for marketing and promotion. We actually have a feature on Trellis where you can create different links for each channel, one for social media, a new email or a new link specifically for your email signature, or maybe one that you give to board members so they can share it with their network. The organizations that have been using that have been telling me that it's been so helpful for them to just figure out where people are coming from and what's actually working, because they've got some data to prove against the custom questions that their donors are also filling out. We've even seen some organizations take it a step further and create a competition amongst volunteers or board members to each track to see how much money each person is bringing in. So what you would do is you would give each individual board member or volunteer a very specific link that they can use when they share it with their friends and family to see who's actually driving the most ticket sales or responsible for helping you guys to raise the most money. Organizations that are doing this have been doing a weekly update. So all of the board members can see the ranking, giving it a little bit of friendly competition. And then of course, ending it off with a prize at the end for the person that brought in the most ticket sales for them. Once you've collected this information, you're going to be able to really use it for your advantage and figure out how you can make better marketing decisions for your next fundraiser by focusing more time and energy and potential money on what's actually working for your organization. But also don't be afraid to make changes as you go. If right at the beginning you notice everybody's coming from social media, use that early information to steer how you continue to promote your raffle. You don't have to wait until the end of your fundraiser to learn what data is being collected. You can start using that right away. But again, make sure you learn from what's working for your organization. I don't know if anybody else has any other marketing tips. If you guys have done anything really cool that's worked really well for your organization, if you want to throw it in the chat, that'd be great, because I would love to know what you are doing and we can hopefully share with each other. And again, just kind of collaborate on best practices that we've all seen. And as you're doing that, let's move on to our last section. Let's talk about how you can set your donors up for success. Successful raffles will have a lot of transactions, and that means a lot of website traffic and awareness. But with all of your fundraising page traffic, you'll want to make sure that your potential purchasers and donors aren't quitting because it's not easy enough for them to make a purchase. And there may be some challenges donors bring to your attention. So again, don't be alarmed if that happens. But to help mitigate any ticket purchaser raffle issues, talk to your software platform and find out from them what kind of support they're going to be able to provide to your donors and purchasers. Another way that you can do that and increase support is to send your ticket purchasers all of the details that they need right away. Itemized receipts for purchases, official raffle tickets, and maybe even donation tax receipts if they made a donation at the same time as purchasing their tickets. Again, you shouldn't have to worry about this. Instead, I would look for a platform that does all of these things for your organization so you can just cross it off the list and not even think about it. Okay, that was kind of like drinking from a fire hose. I know I feel extremely parched and regretting that I do not have water at my desk right now, and I'm sure you guys are feeling the same. So if you want to, I'd love to know how everybody's just doing really quick in the chat here. And then let's quickly cover everything we've talked about. And then there's actually one more section that I haven't mentioned yet, but I really want to get to it because it's so important. And so let's also talk about that. But first, let's see what we've covered. We talked all about streamlining your raffle application, knowing the rules of running a raffle and the questions to ask, and finding the right software partners or raffle experts to ask your questions to. Then we talked about building a foolproof ticketing strategy, planning your sales goals from past experience, early bird tickets, incentives, and limited quantity value-based packages. And by far my most favorite idea, adding a donation upsell to encourage more donations and really achieve that extra 15% we keep talking about. You can use this to also encourage ticket purchasers to become longtime donors for your cause, which again, the opportunities to continue to grow your donor base are truly endless here. And hey, even better if you use a platform that can automate your tax receipting for you guys too. Next, we talked all about designing your event page to help you sell out, using engaging images and sharing the why behind your cause and highlighting your sponsors. Then marketing a raffle, engaging current and past donors to your cause, and using an extended network through event partners to find your new ticket purchasers. And again, the key from here is learning from what's working. Setting up the tools like custom questions in your checkout or using affiliate marketing links to learn from what's working for your organization. And we ended by talking about how you can set your donors up for success, creating resources to help ticket purchasers through their experience. But ultimately, again, finding a trusted raffle platform that can help with everything from supporting your donors and helping them through the ticket purchasing process, sending over all key details like receipts and tickets as soon as their purchase has been made. So now if you've done raffles before, or if this is your very first time, you can see that there is a lot to running a successful raffle, especially when you want to raise 15% more than you have in the past. But with the right tools and software partners, you can accomplish all of these things really easily. At Trellis, we've actually built our platform to do all of these things for you because we know how crucial it is. First, we have a team of raffle experts that you can rely on to help with applying for raffles and identifying the best options for your organization. And by adding a donation upsell or incorporating other fundraising elements into your page to raise 15% more than you have in the past. Trust me when I say that this is our #1 way to raise more. I think than you have in the past and engage your donors unlike you ever have before in previous events. And you may just think that this is just one piece, but it alone has helped other organizations raise more money, and I would love if it did the same for you as well. Then also creating an engaging fundraising page. Adding custom questions and affiliate links to help your page to track your success. And of course, supporting your raffle ticket purchasers too. So by now, you have probably done the following. You've downloaded our guide with 25 more ideas to make your raffle a success. You've hopefully written down at least 3 notes in your notebook from this talk. And again, if you haven't, make sure you message us in the chat right now and let me know. And maybe you've already sent a text to a colleague at work saying something like, hey, we need to talk about our raffle marketing strategy based on the new ideas that you just heard. But we also know that this was a little bit like drinking out of a fire hose. So I wanted to give you some more actionable steps before we move on. And maybe you can put yourself into one of these buckets. One, you already have a raffle fundraiser live and you're selling tickets. If that's you, I would make sure that you download our raffle marketing guide so you can sell more tickets for the raffle that you currently have. Or maybe you are new to online raffle, you're an online raffle first timer. Maybe you're brand new to raffles, or maybe you've only ever done them before in paper and pen. So this is feeling all new to you. I would recommend that you connect with a raffle expert and ask some questions I mentioned today to learn more about how you can set up your raffles for success. We're actually going to throw a link into the chat now so you can connect with the Raffle Trellis team expert, and then they can also help you get set up for success right away here. Or maybe you're ready to take these tactics and raise 15% more for your raffles. If that's you, amazing. Again, use the link in the chat or the one on the screen to connect with our raffle team. And we would love to chat with you on how you can raise that 15% more and any other tactics or tricks we're hearing from other organizations we're supporting. And with all that, let's open us up the floor and let's answer some questions.